It's your boy DJ Wolf here. Got a couple things on my mind today, guys and gals. Let's think about a couple of things, man. You know, I thought about a lot of situations that our people are in. I'm talking about y'all, got you. How we get caught up in a lot of the situations we're in today. And I do believe, personally, that the reason why we're caught up in a lot of situations we're in right now, well, it's obvious though. And people say it's not genetic, it's not genetically engineered. It's not engineered. Set us up. Newsflash, yes the fuck it is. Yes the fuck it is. Think about it. Slavery. That's for starters. Slavery. What was I doing? I guess not. I can't stop here because it's a truck coming. Slavery in itself was genetically modified to control an entire race in this country. All right. By buying people and treating people like sheer animals and savages. All right. Once slavery was abolished and people realized that we're just like y'all, they decided, okay, we're going to abolish slavery and see how y'all do. I mean, I'm just stating facts. All right. Then, later on, the KKK was there to try to control people. Okay? Jobs were plentiful in the North. And, of course, a lot of our families migrated up north. Although my family didn't start migrating up north until actually around about 1950s. Truthfully. And that's both my dad and my mom's. But by the 1970s, all of this genetically modified engineering, social engineering as well, where we had jobs were plentiful at one time, and we were buying big fancy cars, and trying to get there like everybody else was, And then you had the gas crunch. And that's where I know everything started falling out the bottom. When the gas crunch of the early mid-70s came out, that's when we started having problems. The big gas guzzling cars that people could drive to their heart's content when they were paying 59 cents a gallon. And I think cheaper, I don't remember, but I know gas was cheap back in the day. I remember that. Started going up. Prices started going up to like $1 something. And people weren't able to afford the big cars anymore. Speaking of that, they started downsizing cars. They started cutting people from factories. They were busting up the unions. A lot of people who could afford to buy houses back during that time period, after the jobs started drying up, people could no longer afford to take care of the houses. Houses started going into foreclosure. Therefore, you created mass poverty in our communities. Fast forward to 2018. Cities like my hometown of Cleveland, the big massive factories that were there, they don't exist anymore. I go by there all the time when I go home. Those factories are maybe very few people work there, or very empty. These people cannot fucking drive, man. Jeez, oh Louise. It's making me sick. But no one can ever tell me that this was not genetically engineered or planned. They weren't planning on making America great. They never had. They were playing on anything. And I mean, I'm just stating facts. I'm not stating lies. I'm stating absolute 100% facts. What are these people doing? These people cannot drive with the hell on this road, man. Real talk. They can't drive. But, you know, to me, that's a misnomer. Those guys were trying to get rid of the jobs in our communities, by the same token, putting drugs in there. Okay? The drugs was to slow us down. They would slow down our process, our thought process. Okay? That's facts. I'm not going to sit there and lie about it. Therefore, it created mass poverty. And when you had nothing else to do, you go out there and sell drugs on the side. That's why we got all these problems. Part of the reason why we got all these problems today. You know? And we ain't been able to get out that funk since. And that was 40 years ago when I started noticing a downslide. And after that, we've been having hell to pay. You know? And I noticed it too. To me, this is what's really going on. We haven't built. We were doing a lot of spending. You know, I hear people on YouTube talking about there is no such thing as spending power. Now, people, and I don't understand how the hell black people get spending power mixed up with wealth. Wealth is something that you have based on something you built. Okay? That's wealth. Spending power is money that you have that you could use to spend on a lot of different things or build, invest. Okay? Wealth is something you built. That you built based on your earnings. You don't build wealth by spending all the time. You know what I'm saying? We spend on stuff, on money that a lot of us don't even have. We just do it anyway. You know what it's called? Credit. But we don't use it to build. You know, we use it to spend on materialistic stuff. And that's our biggest fault. But people don't have no problem buying $300, $400 pair of tennis shoes. I keep telling people that tomorrow. Well, we don't have no spending power. Yes, we do. We have the power to spend on anything we want to spend it on. Okay? If we want to build a mountain, we can do that. We want to build a building, we can do that. You know? They said 30%. Well, they said 37% of African Americans in this country went to go see Black Panther. It might have been a little bit more than that. And I forgot how much they said the amount. I think it was like over $79 million, something along that line. When it was all said and done, I think it's more than that. And they were talking, and that was like the first week. It was some ridiculous number. You know. But my thing of it is, if we could come up with $79 million in 1 week, think of what we could spend in a fucking month or a year. Think of what we could actually build. You know? And you talking about black people ain't got spending power. What the fuck is that if that's not spending power? And people try to tell you to distinguish the difference between buying power. There is no difference. There is no difference, period. I don't give a damn what anybody says. You know? Look at the black church, man. Look at churches, hell, look at Joel Osteen's church. He has many members that he has are African American, affluent African Americans that helped build this church into a major brand. Okay? I don't want to hear all that. Alright? I really don't. And I'm thinking, wow, do you know the kind of stuff we could do just with that alone? We don't even own a piece of Marvel. You know? But you have some black people more. You have black director, you have black writer. Yeah, the black writers had got permissions from Marvel to write and rewrite the storyline. I read all about it. I know all about it. Okay? That's what that was about. That's probably the reason why Black Panther was so successful. Okay? Because if Black Panther, the movie, had been written by a white guy, it may have been a different story. But my thing is, we have characters that are written by black people. Alright? Like the Boondocks. Boondocks was pretty much entirely almost all black production. Okay, you had black writers, you had black producers, you had black actors, and yet it was a very powerful comedic show. It was a really good show. It was on for 4 seasons on Cartoon Network. I wish they'd bring it back, but unfortunately, they it was a fallout between one of the producers, writers, Carl Jones, who actually were friended on Twitter. I talked to him a few times. Nice guy, man. And it's really a shame, because I meant to ask him about that. I actually like to get an interview with him. I've talked to him before on Twitter. So, but it kind of like, I was bothered by that, because that show was just too good of a show not to continue to be on. Even if it's on streaming internet television, I would love. Now, see, that's a show that Netflix really should get. The Boondocks. I'm sure somewhere along the line it's still available. It was a brilliant show. It was a brilliantly written show. It was just everything you wanted from a show of its kind, of its ilk. You know, I used to read the comic strip back in the day. Loved it. I always kept saying they should make that into a TV show. I said it for years. But I think I had a chance to meet him one time years ago. Aaron McGruder. We originally created the Boondocks, because he lived out this. They say from out this way in the DMV area. I think I had either ran into him or somebody knew him personally or something at a bookstore that I went to years ago. It was something along that line. But nevertheless, though, I would love to see Netflix bring that show back with an all-new show. But I think a lot of what but then again, on the other hand, I think a lot of what they've done said enough about everything to do with Black America today, as we know it. I think they told a lot of the stories about what is and what it is. So I must be in a protest tomorrow. But nevertheless, though, I love the show. I really did. Still do. That's just what we're doing. So hopefully tomorrow night for certain, I'm doing a podcast. I want to see if Lil B1 get in on it. I got to get him in. We got a lot. I mean, we could talk for hours. My brother too. I'm actually might see if I get my brother. Maybe I'll get my brother on tonight or tomorrow, and get B on tomorrow. Well, but anyway, we're gonna do a podcast. We gotta mix it up. Gotta get mixed up, man. But we gotta mix it up. I have a lot to talk about. I mean, it's just I could go for days on the stuff that I like to talk about right now. I could do it on here, but I think when you get more people involved, the talk becomes more and more interesting. It really does. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do, or what I'm going to try to do, is do another one of my live podcasts that incorporates Blog Talk, Spreaker, and YouTube. I've done it before. It's been a long time since I've done all three at the same time. I'm thinking about also adding a couple other spots like live stream and Twitch. I haven't done that. Matter of fact, I have never done it with live stream. Other than I think I did one podcast with them, and I've never done it with Twitch, and I've never done it with VMO, but I did do it with Ustream. And I have access to the 3 of the 4, 5. Well, I have access to most of them. I just haven't used them. Because I like to do a separate show for each of them. But I just haven't had time. Oh my God, this traffic is crazy today. And like they say, time is what I need. Time is of the essence. I talked about it on another podcast about it. But time management is everything. It's just a commodity to me. Time is like money, and money is like time, and they do go hand in hand most of the time. That's like when I used to do body work when I was in high school. Body shops. There's a time frame on when you could get a car worked on, and money with insurance is involved in that too. So time is of the essence for that. So, all right, guys, look like there's an accident up ahead. Oh my goodness, it's one of those days, I tell you. It's your boy DJ Wolf. Let me go ahead and sign for right now. Whenever I get my podcast going, my live podcast, I will let you guys know. It'll be tonight because I'm supposed to be doing something else, but I don't feel like doing that tonight. All right, guys, DJ Wolf, I'm out.